What would you do if someone asked you to do something that you don't believe in? Well, that's what we're going to be discussing today. I have the privilege and pleasure to have with me Mark Menard. Mark, how are you?
I'm great and so happy to be here with you, Ramez.
Thank you so much. Mark is a dear friend, a student, a graduate of the Academy, and more important, an up-and-coming partner with the Academy for Sales Excellence. And it gives me great pleasure to bring you to our audiences and give them a chance to get to know you, get to know a bit about what's on the inside. And maybe let's begin with a bit about, who you are, where you grew up, and a bit on your story, Mark.
Thank you, Ramez. So I will start with once upon a time,
Yes.
like in the novels and the movies.
Yes.
So just to be a bit, summarize my journey. I grew up in France, southwest of France, where my dad was in former special forces in the military, also in France Telecom as well, at telecommunication companies. And my mom, more on the opposite side, was more an artist. So I was always in between these two worlds of, okay, you have to do something, discipline, and then you have to be more creative, imaginative, So, and it brought me to basically traveling the world in many places, from Europe, from Asia to the Middle East, and basically to learn how to be a person who can make the other person, add value to other people, on my sales, on my journeys, and on all the things that I was doing in life, basically.
Wonderful. So then, how did your career start? Where did you end up, and let's go there.
So first of all, I started to do a business school in France, and then because I was really, really bad in English, my English was really, really poor. I was one of the last one in my school when I was in, in France in baccalaureate, and I was able to do an MBA in Australia because this was the only university who did not needed to have an English test. So I was able to do that, and then I started my career in Hong Kong. So I went to Hong Kong, and basically I was looking for a job there because I was finishing my third trimester. And when I arrived there, I was looking for a job in 2008. And if you remember, it was the crisis of the subprimes.
Yeah.
And it was really, really hard to find a job there. I wanted to get into the finance industry in the bank, but banks were collapsing, so no way to find something there. And one day I pushed myself to go to an event, which was organized by the French Overseas Associations, like the French Chamber of Commerce. And I was not supposed to be invited, but I pushed and I insisted that no, I need to go there. And they told me, no, sir, it's only for members. I know, but I need to go there. And I was pushing, until the end they said, you know what, please stop calling us. I said, if you let me in, I will stop calling you. And this is what we did. So I went there and I met these French and also Hong Kongese people. It was in Hong Kong. And I realized that the economy was really going down. But I kept pushing, and I met a gentleman there who asked me, he liked the way I was approaching him, and it was at the end of the event. And he gave me his business card, and basically I had a chance to then see his CEO the following day and apply for a job in the insurance brokerage firm, which I have no idea about, but it was about sales. And this is how I started my career.
So you started selling insurance?
Yes, health insurance.
Health insurance.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us what happened then. So you started there, and then what happened?
Well, this was one of the most challenging experiences because don't forget that when you come from a foreign, you come to a foreign country, and especially when you're used to have a French culture, when you arrive in Hong Kong, totally different way.
Yeah.
The way of working is so different. The 35 hours per week that we have in France does not exist. It's like 50 hours, 60 hours, right? So this is a big jump on that. And also I have to learn from everything. And the issue that I was facing was the management was really intense. And the people the management was really, really tough. It was always working long hours, sometimes I was working.
These were the Hong Kong management, or?
The management was French.
Oh.
It was a Hong Kong company.
Okay.
But the owner was French, and he was really, really intense.
Okay.
But basically, I always said that, what's any challenge that we have in life brought us a lot of good things.
Correct.
So at that time, I didn't really see that. I was struggling because I was working long hours and it was pushing me all the time. So I was barely sleeping for months. And this is where after something really big happened to my life, basically.
What happened?
Well, at only 27 years old, I had a near-death experience because of
A what?
a near-death experience.
Near-death experience.
Because of the heart attack, and it was an acute myocarditis, so inflammation of the heart muscle, which was exactly the same as a heart attack because basically I was collapsing, and I was traveling in Thailand after a beach holiday because I was exhausting with all the pressure that I was getting through my work and through the intensity, and I was always letting the management do whatever, with me. I was not putting boundaries, and this is where I end up in this hospital bed in Bangkok, in Thailand, and have this amazing experience.
Wow. Thank you for sharing, Mark. I mean, it feels like you're this young, passionate French person who really wants to face life head on, and you found an entrance. You made the door. You created that door, and maybe where you entered was full of maybe I hear the word challenging, difficult, pressury type of an environment, which then led to you collapsing, and and now you're in, I guess you said Thailand. You're in Thailand. You're sitting there. What was going on through your mind?
Well, it was already a couple of months that I was really living on endorphin because I was not sleeping at all, and I was doing a lot of sports, and this is why I survived when I got my heart attack, because I was also running a salsa association. I was teaching people how to dance just to get clients, because at sales you need to find ways to attract people, and people need to like you. They need to see who you are, and understand the mindset of who you are. So that's why this is my way of contributing to also getting clients, on that. And the more I was pushing myself, plus the management pressure, plus the anger, and one of the key factor that happens, why I got this heart attack, I had a huge argument with my boss at that time, just before to go to Thailand. And the anger was so high that I created so much cortisol into my body because of the anger that I was created, that this heart attack just blows up, basically.
Wow. No, thank you again for sharing. And this, I can see the emotions there, but now I can see you more calm, a bit more, more relaxed. So from your hospital bed in Thailand, right, to where you are, take us fast forward. So how did that, how did things turn out?
Well, I realized in life, like, everything happened for a reason. And I realized that, why did this happen to me? Is it because of my boss? No. Is it because of the work environment? No. Is it because I was getting too much pressure? No. It's because of me. Why? Because we always realize that we do not put boundaries to ourselves and to other people. So I realize now, enough, it's enough. Now we'll put boundaries. Respect is number one for me. If I do not have respect with the people I'm working with, then I no longer have to work with them. And this was my motto, so it was a blessing to get this wake-up call.
Right.
Because thanks to that, I realized that I was accepting everything.
So you were a yes man.
I was a yes man for everything. I'm still a yes man for opportunities.
Okay.
But I'm not a yes man for getting my attention and getting people sucking my energy away.
Give me an example of a sucking energy moment that used to happen with you.
Okay, so for example,
This is good because I think here this making boundaries. I think today more and more sales professionals need to realize that in order for you to get what you want in life, you need to make sure that you create your own boundaries and your own rules. And of course, it has to come with the simple rule in life is the more you give, the more you get. But now we need to tell us a bit more.
Yeah, I mean, one of the key factors why it brought me to this heart attack when I was in Bangkok, and it was just a few days before my travel to Thailand, was because I was asked by the CEO in the last minute to prepare like many insurance quotations for health insurance, life insurance, home insurance, business insurance for a gentleman which was in the boss office. And basically my boss asked me to do that in less than 2 hours, where I was going to a meeting to see a client that I also promised I'm going to see, so, and also I prepare other quotations. So basically I had no time to do all of this. And he was pushing me, and I told him, listen, I can do it tomorrow, but now I cannot in 2 hours. And he was very insisting, and he was really pushing me, and the non-respect was crazy. You know, I felt like I was a slave, basically. So I was so angry. My anger went up to the roof, and at one point I went to see the general manager, and I told him, listen, if you're not going to help me, I'm going to smash it all, and I will not do anything. So you help me or khalas, no more. I didn't say khalas at the time because I was not living in Lebanon, but I like this word, khalas, means stop, you know. So, and in that way, so the general manager helped me to prepare some of the quotations. I was able to do some of them, and then I have to go to a meeting. And then I went to my meeting because I could not go to my meeting. It was very important. It was a signature client, to sign a new client. And I was pressured to do my sales. So in one way, the boss asked me to do quotations, and at the same time he was pushing me to sign.
Yeah.
So I go to the person who is going to sign right away.
Yeah.
And then he can wait 1 hour. So I went an hour later, not after 2 hours, after 3 hours. I gave everything to him, and then he looked at me and said, what about this insurance? With these really tones. And I was like, well, and I mean, I didn't have the time to do everything because I do not also have this information. Oh, no, you should have give it to him. And this is where I explode. I explode, basically. And then it was the cherry on the cake, which was exploding. Everything was exploding. And I started to tell him, now it's enough. You treat me like shit. I don't want you to talk to me like that anymore. And you want to do your quotation, do it yourself. And I left. But the anger, the cortisone I was creating was huge because I was accumulating all these layers of frustration and hate and anger for all these months, lack of sleep. I was not sleeping anymore as well, and I was like always in stress. And then when I went to Thailand for have this beach holiday with one of my best friends.
So this was an event that actually led to this other thing?
Yes,
okay.
Definitely, because I was building up the stress. The anger was there. And on the last day, before to go back to Hong Kong, going to this minibus from Koh Samet to Bangkok. It was like 4 hours drive in the minibus. I had this strong heart pain, on the chest. My left arm, I was headache. I couldn't breathe anymore. I was sweating like crazy. I could not, I was losing every sight, and I was asking my friend, hold me my hands because I feel like I need energy. I'm being I'm collapsing basically, and I know it's my heart. And this is where I went to the hospital, and then they took me in the emergency room, and basically I went up for a couple of minutes, went on the other side. I saw, wow, man, it's not my time, what are you talking about? I have too many things on this planet, so I need to do more things, so, and basically, I explained that in a book that I wrote. And
what is the book name?
It's called All for a Purpose, but at the moment I'm refurbishing it and add the other story of my Lebanese experience, Colombian experience, basically to try to help people with similar situations to understand that everything that happened to us with challenges, it's actually a gift. Why? Because we learn, we experience, we feel, we have emotions. And once we understand that we are much more than a human being, having a human experience, we are actually much more than that. We all of us are souls, and we have to do something. And when we realize that we are helping others, we are adding value to people's life, this is where we feel fulfilled. This is what I understood.
Absolutely.
And that's why I wanted to create these books, not to make money, just to, first of all, have a therapy as well, to help me release all this, and also share it, because I think a lot of people are going through similar experiences, but they don't put words into emotions and feelings.
Absolutely. You talk about everything happens for a reason, or everything is there. A friend of mine said, things don't happen to you, they happen for you.
Yes.
So these action or these events in life form us, and the way we interpret them, right? And what you said, you realize that, step number one is respect, right? So this was one of the rules, the boundaries that you kind of put from that moment, if we were to go back there. Anything else happened?
Into the sales part or health part?
So first you said you want to put boundaries.
Yes.
And then what?
Yes, first was boundaries and starting to respect myself. Number one, because if you want others to respect you, you first have to respect yourself. This is where I went into a discipline mode.
What do you mean by discipline mode?
I started to basically change everything that I was doing in my life. I said, if you want to keep being healthy, if you want to achieve a lot of things in life, you must take care of your temple, which is your body, your mind, your emotions, and your physical body. So I started to do meditations, breathing exercises. I started as well to do exercise on a regular basis, because if you do not feel good into your body, how can you function in this reality? It's impossible.
Right.
And if you want to be an example for others, for your family, for your friends, for your kids, you must be in such a way that people relate to you, not by your words, but by your action.
Right.
Because action talks, words, but words, depends what you do with it.
Right.
So this is what I started to do, and then I started to say, never again, disrespect will be there. And once you know exactly that disrespect is not part of my vocabulary, then you know where you go. And then all your interaction that you have with people, it's clear, because you know that you will react right away. It says, sir, don't respect me or I'm leaving, or it's finished. And by doing this, people realize that they need this. Everyone needs boundaries. We need rules, right, to functions.
Well, thank you for sharing. And I think here there's a lot of deep insights that, you spoke about knowing, respecting yourself, of course, respecting others, but knowing when someone is trying to disrespect you, and then just having the power to say, I'm not going to take that, and putting that boundary in sales. A lot of time we feel as sales professionals that we need to go after every single deal, but it doesn't have to be like that.
No.
There's something called the ideal customer profile, where there's certain commonalities and demographics, psychographics, and values and goals which kind of makes us understand and find the type of clients that we are more likely to actually mirror and match and find this common bond, right? And those are great relationships to service, as opposed to those that feel that because I'm giving you business, you have to work for me. Habibi, it doesn't work like that. It has to be a win-win. We're equal, as opposed to I'm a slave to that. So I really think this is a big statement, because a lot of sales professionals, it's only when they get that, having this walk-away power, it does give this, we don't do it in an arrogant way, none whatsoever. We do it in a way because we know who we are.
Yes.
And if the customer is not willing to kind of recognize who they are,
yes.
Who we are to them, then that just kind of crosses that line. So great. Respect, discipline. You spoke a lot also about the mind and the body, in a sense where a lot of it can actually be interpreted in terms of great sales professionals. You got to take care of yourself. So if you're not taking care of you, well, who's going to take care of you? So
yeah.
So
True.
having these elements. So then what happened, Mark?
Then I got this opportunity to so after my heart attack, to basically I've been approached by a company who wanted to recruit someone to set up their own insurance brokerage firm in Hong Kong. And funny enough, that's why I always believe things happen for a reason, because why I'm here now, sitting here right now, depends on one answer I gave to one question.
Which was?
I was in the insurance brokerage firms, with my boss. I came back, so it was before my heart attack, right? And my general manager came to me and said, Mark, can you replace me? I need to go to a meeting in 15 minutes in the Mandarin Oriental. Can you go on my behalf? I said, he told me I have to meet these very important clients. The guy is British and I cannot go there. Can you go on my behalf? I said, yeah, of course. I went to this meeting. And during this meeting, it was actually someone who were looking for someone to set up his own firm in Hong Kong. So that person changed his name and he was known into the passport business. And basically, I had 2 hours conversation with him because he was, but about insurance, not about getting the job. And he basically recruited me with all these questions and he liked me and introduced me to his business partner who then offered me the opportunity to set up their own subsidiary in Hong Kong in insurance brokerage firms when I was only 27 years old, sorry. 27 years old. So, and this is where I wanted to do that. And then I started to set up this company on my own, just with the financing of these shareholders, and basically starting to sell during the day and doing the paperwork during the night.
So now you went into a similar industry, but now you are setting it up from scratch. So you're doing the business development and you're the admin in the back end, trying to kind of balance things.
I was a single man doing the show.
So you were a one-man band.
Exactly. I was doing everything. You know, like the guys with all the musicians?
Yes.
It was that. And I did it for a year.
Right. I think this, no, so which was more difficult for you? You doing all the work or getting instruction for someone to make you do work that is not...
Well, no, because the fact is I told them, I know Hong Kong. I know how it works. Trust me. And these guys trusted me. So I had the flexibility to do everything that I wanted to. So then I have free hands and I was basically doing everything that I could to bring business together. And after 1 year, I told them, listen, if you want me to grow the business, I need an assistant. But to do that, you need to invest more to pay the salary of this assistant for me to just focus on sales. Because if I'm doing the administration work, this is the time I don't do on meeting people, because at the time it was not as easy as it is now, you know, with online marketing and everything. I have to go basically physically go and network and face to face and all these things, talking to many people and make people know, oh, I like this guy, you know, like he's talking about insurance, I trust him, let me do that. And then they accepted it, and once I got my assistant, the sales just skyrocketed, you know, and starting to get more clients, individual clients, corporate clients, until the time that they proposed me to go to another endeavor in Lebanon. So decided to sell the business.
So you lived in Lebanon?
Yes.
So بتحكي عربي شوي.
Yeah, شوي, you know. So أنا فرنساوي, you know. So
how many years you lived in Lebanon?
So 6 years.
I mean, 6 years is
it was a lot. It was a lot.
Yeah. Did you meet did you marry someone in Lebanon?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I didn't marry. I mean, that subject could be complicated, you know. So, okay. But yeah, no, I mean, after I saw the business in Hong Kong, I got this opportunity to set up a subsidiary of a company into the passport business. This is where into the immigrations and dealing with high net worth individuals to help them securing a second passports. And because of the situation at the time, it was end of 2015, it was still the war in Syria, and a lot of people were looking for a plan B, right? So that's why I moved to Beirut after leaving Hong Kong, my 7.5 years in Hong Kong, and from Asia to Lebanon, knowing that I have to remove my Asian, you know, CD or MP3 maybe. You know, it's we don't talk about CD.
Ship.
Yeah, ship, and put a blank one with the Lebanese where, okay, now learn as a child again. Right. Because all the time we arrive to another country, what we know means nothing. And then this is where you realize that we need to not judge others, not judge other cultures, because once we go to another culture, what we think is true, it's not. And that's why all the things that are happening into the world right now, because we don't listen to each other. We don't try to understand who is this. We don't try to adapt. when I've been from one country, culture to another, you realize like, whoa, war starts because we don't understand, we don't listen to each other.
Wow. That's quite deep.
It is.
Right? We don't listen to each other, or we don't understand. But when you are now looking at things from the angle of that other culture, you understand. And you have more clarity, and you realize maybe we don't mean bad. You know, it's just we have different ways of saying things, and it means different things to different people.
Exactly. And that's why sales, it's all about sales at the end of the day. How do you present yourself? How do you understand the other person's needs?
Right.
And when you go from one country to another, the needs change.
Right.
Values change.
Right.
Because, you know, depending of what is true, what the religion part, so you need to listen first. Mm-hmm. And that's why I love about the sales part of that. Because life, it's all about selling yourself.
Right.
If you want to find a girlfriend or a wife, you have to sell yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to sell your car, you have to sell the benefits of the car, but you need to understand what
the other
the client's needs.
Wants and needs.
So it's all come back from what the other person needs, not what they want, what they need.
That's right.
And this is where the whole concept of, wow, I can really help people here.
Absolutely. So let's talk a bit about how you currently help people. So currently you said you're in the passport business.
Yes.
And we met about a year and 3 months ago, Jan 2024.
Oh, wow. You remember exactly the date.
Yeah, because that was on my calendar. We had an event as a result of that. And then, you know, so I really got to know more about your business. And I think you're somebody that's quite fortunate to have lived in multiple different countries, to have this flexibility, this mobility, this freedom to an extent that many of your clients are seeking.
Yes.
Yeah. So actually, what made you want to invest in the sales training programs, the systematic selling strategy program, which today I'm gonna give you this beautiful certificate to put onto your collection there.
Thank you for that.
No, it's a pleasure. But you know, what made you wanna? I mean, at the time you're quite successful, to have someone as senior as you to actually humble themselves and say, you know, I want to learn more, but just you want to give your angle to it.
Yeah, well, I realized that in life we never stop learning. Number one, you know, people who think they know everything, we don't know everything. We always need to improve ourselves in everything that we do. And
especially with the world that we live in today, if you know everything today, it's changed tomorrow.
Exactly.
So you no longer know what, you don't know it anymore.
True, with AI, with all the change, you need to adapt yourself to new methods.
Yeah, absolutely.
And basically, first of all, when we met through a common friends and introduced to me, to you, and I realized like, wow, I like this guy. I like Ramez. You know, I like this energy. He's Lebanese. I know the Lebanese culture. And I'm not Lebanese, I'm French, but I got a lot about the Lebanese culture after living in Lebanon for 6 years. And I realized that the way that you're presenting things makes sense. And I said, you know what, I can really fine tune my sales techniques and really understand what I'm missing. Because I knew I was good in sales, but I didn't know where and why I was good.
Wow.
Once you put a why of what you're doing, when you put consciousness, meaning that you know why you're doing something, then you can put a systematic plan to make it happen. Because most of the time in our life, in everything that we do, it's automatic.
It's a habit.
It's autopilots.
Yeah.
But when we start to understand, okay, now when I do a sales, I need to understand there's a structure of my sales. Boom, 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 boom. And when I'm starting to do the program with you, Ramez, it's opened my eyes. I realized what I was doing right, I realized what I was doing wrong, and I realized how I need to structure point by point to basically help my clients. At the end of the day, when you say sales, sometimes it's a big word for people. Oh, you're in sales, so you're the bad guy. I said, sorry, I'm not a sales guy, I advise.
Hello, nice.
I advise because I'm here to help you decide what's best fit for you. To do that, I need to discover your needs that you don't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
People, I want that. I want a passport. Are you sure you want a passport? This one. Yes, I want that because my friends did it. Okay, before that, before I'm going to explain you the different passports, let me ask you a few questions about you, what you need and who you are. And something that I really, really enjoy in your program, Ramez, was one thing which struck my mind. It was the pain and the gain questions. I was like, wow, that's powerful. Basically, the pain questions, asking the pain questions. Why? What will be the consequences of you not having a second passport or second residency for you and your children and your family? I think it can be, do you see yourself going back to your home country? Do you have a plan B? I have 3 plan Bs myself with 3 different residency permits. I do it for myself. I know because I want to anticipate.
Yeah.
So then asking the question about the pain questions, you realize what's important for the clients, his needs.
Yeah.
Then the gain questions, what will be the importance of you having it? What will it change in your life? And then the clients do the sales on my behalf. He's explaining why he needs it. And this is where now I know what the client is looking for. I know what's important for him. Then based on that, because I know all the different programs, the residency, the citizenship, I say, sir, based on what you told me, these 2 programs, or these programs will be the best suited.
Yeah.
And then I come back, because this, you told me that, right? Regarding your kids. These programs reply to your needs, not this one that you were originally looking at.
Yeah.
And then I go back and forth, and then say, Mark, you're right. This is exactly what I need.
Yeah.
When can we start?
This is how you build trust, man.
Yes.
I'm going to just build on a few things that you beautifully mentioned, Mark. You spoke about, I was successful, but I did not know the why and how, right? So a lot of people do things, but are they able to recreate these things? So sometimes you get a sale, but you don't know what one thing you did that got you the sale. When we went back and started, mapping the actions against our process, right? And now it's about, there is a concept in sports or in learning, it's called deliberate practice. So if I play tennis, well, tennis, you have to serve. So there is how you throw the ball, how you put your hand, how you hit it on the angle. So you can break it down into these specific parts and you can practice them.
Yes.
And that's exactly what we do for people. We actually go from just driving a car to really going to becoming a Formula One driver. And that's a complete different game, to be able. So this concept, and I love, you pointed to something that I discovered by I've been in sales for more than 36 years now, and in this region for the last 21. And the biggest thing that people still mess up is this need analysis, is this ability to really understand. People are so fast to want to offer a solution. Even when the customer comes and tells you, I want to buy this, you say, well, I'd love to sell it to you. Let me make sure that you're actually buying the right thing for you. Allow me to ask you a few quick questions just so that I can ensure that it's going to help you achieve what you want.
Yes.
Right? And the way that you do it, I love your passion. And so again, your passion, your willingness. You're putting your value, respect. You're respecting other people. You're helping them get what they want, and as a result, it's giving you what you want. So I love this basics, fundamentals. These basic fundamentals are what drive performance.
Yes.
You said a lot of things. I love also your knowing back in 2008 when 2008, 2009, the world was different. You had to rely on your physical skills to go and meet people and network and build these relationships. Can you tell us today whether you're talking with people in different markets? At the end, we know that people buy from people they know,
yes,
like, and trust. So I am going to buy, and the way trust is built is, people got to know that you're honest, that you're capable, ability, reliability, they need to know that you care, and then you have to build that rapport with them. So what would be some, maybe one or two tips that you would give a salesperson or the audience is watching us today, that if you were to do it again, if you were to start from ground zero, and maybe today people are listening, and I want to talk about your future as well with the academy and what are the plans, but what could be two things that anyone today can keep in their mind and take small actions to improve their game in sales?
Well, Ramez, we have 2 ears, one mouth.
Yeah.
And this was my mistakes when I started this business. I was talking too much.
So you had 2 mouths and 1 ear?
Exactly, I was like this, And because of that, because I wanted to show to the clients, look, this is good for you. Let me tell you why. And I was going too fast, speaking too much. Why? Because I really genuinely believed it was the best thing for the clients.
Right.
But I was missing the fundamental rules of sales, listening to what the client needs. And to do that, I first had to ask questions. If I do not ask questions, how will I know what he needs? So my first advice for your audience, it's ask questions first and listen. And then once you get the answers, ask more deeper questions. Then your client will really appreciate the fact that you really care and you really try to find out why does it need your service, why does it need your product. And once you get these informations, then he will be listening to you very carefully because he knows that you really care for him. And once you care for someone, it's coming from your heart. You're talking heart to heart. And once you talk heart to someone else, the guy knows that you want the best for him.
I'm very tempted to do a little practice with you here. And I'm coming to you and ask me, so why would you want a second passport? So ask me the first question. Let me give you the answer.
Okay. Why would you want to have a second passport, Ramez?
Because I want a second passport. I'm Lebanese. I want a second passport.
Okay. So do you have a family, Ramez?
Yes.
Yes. You have kids. Okay. How old are your kids?
4 and 6.
Okay. What do you have in mind for the future? Do you want to go back to Lebanon for them?
Not sure we can.
Okay. Well, yeah, because of what's happening.
Yeah.
So basically, will you say that you having a plan B for your kids will be something important?
Yes.
Okay. Then you say you want a second passport, but what kind of passport? Because you have the cheapest passports, where basically in the Caribbean that you can get, but do you want to go and live in the Caribbean?
No, probably I'm thinking it kind of open doors for them. So first is education.
Yes.
Then of course being able to have access to let's say a place that has a good economy.
Yes. Okay, so then in that case, you first need to understand where do you plan in the future. So if you're planning to go to Europe or to the Caribbean or elsewhere, I need to understand first what you need and what its new plan. So you're talking about education. So are you talking about Europe for your kids, for example?
Maybe
or
Europe
US?
Or US.
Okay.
I studied in the US, so maybe that.
Okay, so then based on that, for example, you have few programs. You have a residency program in the US where we can get you access to the US, or you can even get EU passports like in Malta, for example, which give you access to 180 countries without having to have a visa. First of all, you have freedom of movement, but not only that, you have options to go and study in all European countries, and you can go to the US with no visa. But to get at the university, you will need to apply for a residency there,
Okay.
but it's going to be easy with your EU passport.
Right.
You see, so I need to first understand
Beautiful.
what you need in order for me to advise you, and then based on your budget and when do you want to implement it, then I can help you and guide you on that.
Absolutely. So sometimes people come wanting that second passport, but you can see all the baggage that I was holding, and then people start talking, oh, well, send me a quotation, and then a quotation is sent, and then you never hear from this customer.
Yes.
Ever. There are people I meet that are hesitant or they are resistant to change. They are like, well, I sell, I have my own way. What do you tell such people?
Well, yeah, because they don't know what they don't know. So basically, these people are afraid to be out of their comfort zone. And actually, it's human nature.
Yeah.
Because we have a survival brain inside.
Yeah.
And you will be more focusing on what we know, we feel comfortable with what we know, than going out of the comfort zone to have a better life and better future. Because then it's also show you your fears, your doubts.
Shows you your weaknesses.
Your weaknesses. And people don't want to see their weaknesses
weaknesses.
sometimes because they say, oh man, I have to work on it. Yes, but what do you want? Do you want to be better? Or do you want to stay there? And trust me something, Ramez. If you do not change with your own decision, life itself will take care of you. External event is going to push into you, and trust me, life do not put gloves.
It's gonna come, bam!
So yeah, and it's gonna be hard. So the lesson is much better if you choose to make the change yourself, than its life will bring you an unexpected events, will slap you, and then, oh man, I really have to change now. So that, and because I'm being so aware since I'm a little boy about this, I said, you know what? Let me out of my comfort zone. I was scared like hell.
Yeah.
I was very scared in public speaking. I was shaking all the time. I had to speak when I was in school. I was shaking. And I will tell you basically one of the stories that I did when I was a kid.
Tell me.
Okay, because I was bullied when I was a kid. I was being beaten and everything. So my self-esteem was really, really low. So I have to do 2 times, my schooling, like because I redoublé, I don't know how you say that in French.
Redoublé, you skipped a grade.
Yeah,
you have to do it again.
Yeah, do it again twice.
Not twice. I did it once.
Oh, okay, for me, I wanted to do more. So.
Just keep going. It's okay.
Yes, and I remember the first day when I did the second year.
Yeah.
And because everyone were laughing at me and everything the first time, I said, you know what, this time it has to change. And I was really bad in mathematics. Really bad. All the time I have to go to the board to do the exercises. People will laugh at me. And I said, you know what? Not anymore. So I was here in the classroom the first day, and the teacher on the first day was the mathematician teacher. He said, okay, now I will ask someone to go in the board to do these exercises. Everyone was like scared. And you know what I did?
Raised your hand.
I raised my hand. He said, yeah, Mark? So yes, can I do the exercises? Did I knew how to do the exercise? No way. I have no clue. No clue how to do that. But I knew that being the one, volunteering to go to the board, try to do the exercises, the way that my other students, colleagues in the room, my classmates in the rooms will see me, and the teacher will change. And why I did that? I was scared? Yes, I was scared like hell. I was shaking. I knew I didn't know how to do the exercise. I went there and I was like trying to do the things like that. And then I realized okay, what do I do now? And then I had to a bit of acting. So, I thought it was there. Oh, sorry, just, and then I was doing it again. He said, hey, Mama, it's okay. No, please. Let me try again. So he saw that I was doing on purpose. I was doing it on purpose. I knew I couldn't make it. And then he said, Mark, you know what? That's fine. It's great. At least you tried.
Yeah.
Went back sitting. Release. Then he can pick the new victim, which this one didn't volunteer. And the way he was reacting to the guy on the board was totally different. And then step by step, my confidence level starting to raise up, because I understood that if I show up when something is challenging for me, I will learn so much and my self-esteem will be growing.
Absolutely. Showing up is half the battle. If you don't show up, you for sure lost. But that raising your hand, that courage, that desire to face your fear with action. A long time ago, my manager selling knives, I used to be afraid to make phone calls, It's like face your fear with action, afraid to ask for leads or referrals. Like, what if they say no? But every time, this was all things built up in my mind. And when I started to take these actions, when I started to confront my fears with action, the phone no longer had teeth. Asking a client for referral no longer became the obstacle. On the contrary, it became the source of opportunities, because if you don't ask, you don't get. You know, in the Bible it says, ask and thou shalt receive. So again, it's these rules of life that we discover them through the profession of selling. You know, the thought of that courage, the thought of people who have this closed mindset, right? And I love what you said. If you don't change, life will come and hit you. It's gonna hit you so bad that you're gonna have to change. Yeah. So you either learn proactively or you're gonna learn reactively.
Yes.
So this has been some fantastic things that you've shared, and I'm really excited because you're really now you're living in Malta.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about the future. So you're living in Malta. I know that you're seeing some great opportunities, and let's go ahead and maybe share a couple of thoughts on the future for Mark.
Yes, so thank you for that, Ramez. So basically, I decided to go back to Europe after more than 17 years living outside of my country of France. Like from Asia.
Your comfort zone.
My comfort zone, exactly. Coming back to more comfortable, I was like, wow, it's not shaking anymore. That's a bit interesting way of doing it, and I saw an opportunity for teaching people how to sell, how to present. And this is where, when I did the training with you, and I saw an amazing value on that. And even on my own company, people saw it. And they were asking me as well, Mark, can you teach me? Can you train me? And other young people, I met very young entrepreneurs, like 22, 25 years old, that I'm basically coaching, just to give them some tips. And I realized most of us do not have an idea of how to present ourselves, how to talk. And this is where, like when I approached you, I said, Ramez, I really want to participate on that, because we can really add value to people's life, and not only on the sales, but because sales, it's about the mindset as well. So you can even work on the mindset, on the personal coaching as well, because it's all about you at the end of the day when you sell yourself. And this is where the opportunity in Europe is huge. And I think with my international experience, the fact that I speak French, we can go and touch the French market, but also the African market, because most people there speak French as well, where I can really put and add value into that. And this is where I think the cooperation that we can have together on the Academy of Sales, together with my professional experience on the passport business, which I'm still doing and I'm continue doing, makes sense, because I can really make sure that both are aligned, because my clients trust me, and then my clients ask me for other things. I can even teach them to do things.
No, fantastic. D'ailleurs, I'm going to change to French a little bit. C'est une très bonne idée de pouvoir utiliser ton expérience, l'expérience de l'Academy for Sales Excellence, pour pouvoir, toucher les personnes, toucher la vie des personnes qui sont en Europe, qui sont en tout part en Afrique, Afrique francophone. I think c'est une très bonne idée. D'ailleurs, il n'y a aucune personne que je connais qui peut faire ça autre que Marc maintenant dans le continent européen et le continent africain.
Mais c'est vrai que quand on parle de vente, alors j'en parlais justement avec un de mes amis, c'est que les informations en anglais, c'est... Alors j'ai même du mal à parler en français, parce que j'ai tellement l'habitude de parler en anglais que c'est difficile pour moi de trouver mes mots en français. Excusez-moi.
Mais ce n'est pas évident. L'information de vente, et la plupart est en anglais.
Exactement. Et c'est pour ça le problème, c'est qu'il y a un manquement, il n'y a pas assez de plateformes justement qui proposent ces ventes. Il y en a bien évidemment, mais avec une expérience. Moi je vois par exemple, je regarde beaucoup plus de vidéos en anglais qu'en français. Pourquoi ? Parce que vous avez des Indiens, des Pakistanais, des Américains, des Anglais, des Français qui font des vidéos en anglais. Donc en fait, on est exposé à des cultures diverses Dans tous les pays, par contre, si c'est un Français de France qui parle à des Français, il y a juste uniquement une partie qui est partagée. Par contre, quelqu'un qui a eu l'expérience dans différentes cultures, différents types de business, mes clients sont aussi bien des Américains. Aujourd'hui, c'est 70% de ma clientèle est américaine.
Ouais.
Donc, ce qui est énorme, alors qu'avant, ce n'était pas ça. J'ai beaucoup d'Arabes, j'ai des Asiatiques, j'ai des Africains. Donc, je suis exposé à toutes ces différentes cultures. Ce qui me donne un panel d'informations et de diversité de comment toucher ces gens et de comprendre leurs besoins. Et ça passe par une compréhension de la culture. Je me souviens d'un cours de management culturel quand j'étais en école de commerce. Et mon professeur, bon, il n'était pas trop d'expérience dans le domaine, et on rigolait parce qu'en fait, il parlait les Chinois, ils parlent chinois, ils mettent les deux cartes, ok d'accord, mais rentrons dans le vif du sujet. Est-ce que tu as déjà travaillé avec des Chinois? Non. Ben, c'est compliqué de comprendre comment ils fonctionnent.
Ouais.
Est-ce que tu as déjà travaillé avec des Libanais? Non. C'est très compliqué de comprendre intellectuellement comment ils fonctionnent si on n'a pas fait l'expérience dans sa propre chair. C'est là où ça pourrait vraiment être intéressant.
Non, bien sûr.
Au niveau de ces marchés-là.
En anglais, on dit you're a practitioner. Tu pratiques ce que tu es en train d'enseigner. Tu as pratiqué ça. Right?
Exactement.
So, il y a une différence de savoir quelque chose et de faire ce qu'on sait. So, cette différence, c'est bien évident. D'ailleurs, pouvoir parler le langage. D'ailleurs, le vendeur, l'audience eux-mêmes vont avoir meilleure connection avec toi qu'une personne qui peut-être n'a pas eu cette expérience. So, at the end, I'm going to go back to English now.
Yeah, no worries. Even for me, it's easier actually.
But I tell you, it's going to be a pleasure. There is French on the inside, and I think you're being able to make an announcement to say, you know what, if you or your team are French speaking, and you want to bring in in education, you want to bring in inspiration or motivation, I think reaching out to Mark, to the Academy for Sales, and being able to see how we can support you with really making the transformation, and you can see the transformation right here in front of you. So even from being a superstar, a great sales professional, to taking it to the next level. And if I may say, it wasn't something that your company sponsored.
No.
It was something that you
I did it on my own.
Several $1,000s, and
Yes.
you said, okay, I'm going to go for it. But at the end, it's going to cost you money, either to learn it, or it's going to cost you money you're not going to earn. So it's all about making this decision.
True, and I think to add on what you said, when I decided to do that, I knew I must have a structure. And some companies, they want to save money, but how can you say to someone in sales, okay, go and sell without having the knowledge?
Right.
Try to ask Elon Musk, or people who are building space rocket, not to have the basics of physics and scientific experience to basically build something.
Right.
If you don't have the basic rules of calculations, how can you build something? It's not possible. Same in sales. And it's so funny that when I see people, okay, you have to sales. How? I mean, how? So, and that's why for me, when I put my own money to do these trainings, and thank you for this certificate that I have.
It's coming.
So yeah, and because I knew it was important, and people need to realize if you want to put their business in certain level, they need to realize that they need to understand how to sell it.
My dear friend Brian Tracy talks about in order to earn more, you gotta learn more. So just add the letter L to the word earn. And I think here today, with the speed by which the world is evolving, that's the only thing that can happen. I'm gonna add with one last thing before I give you this. So I was at an event the other day. Actually, no, I was not at an event. I was talking to a potential client, and it's a repeat client. And I was invited by this executive director to talk with their leadership team. So there was about 12 individuals there, and support functions. And then I talked about the concept of sales capability building. And then I got to the part to say, guys, how does a golfer get better at playing golf? And they all said, well, he has to practice his swing. And then I asked, how does an airline pilot, practice flying a plane? Well, here he doesn't practice flying because you don't want to be, you don't want to be on a passenger, where the pilot is practicing. He actually goes in a simulator. And today, golf, you have advanced technology where someone goes in a simulator. You have things holding you, and it's measuring every little detail. Well, we did the same thing in selling. Our AI sales coach.
Yes.
We are able to have salespeople practice selling skills in a safe environment, and we're able to give them live feedback. Can you share a couple of thoughts on that engine, when your expression or your experience in practicing with Joe, the AI?
I mean, this was a mind-blowing experience, to be honest, because, and thanks to AI, the world is changing, and I think it's a great opportunity to basically see ourselves how we sell.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, you are with a client face to face or on Zoom. You never record the informations. But here we go. You have Joe, John, whatever the AI name is, like he's in front of you. You put your face here. Hey, John. So how are you today? And you start to have these conversations with this AI. And then you can even record your conversations. And then you can see, and then where you put the unnecessary words as well. So you have all these tips that you are getting back and the feedback. And not only this, the AI will tell you where you can improve because you put the parameters on how a sales speech needs to be done. And once you see step by step how the structure has been given to you, and then you can really twist it and practice again and practice again. And then it becomes habits.
Absolutely.
And first, I always said, this is what I learned with Tony Robbins, which for me I love it, in terms of the way he was teaching us how to be in everything. He said there's a difference between rituals and habits. Do you know the difference?
It's very, yes, I think to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
So a ritual is something that you purposely do on a regular basis. A habit is something that you do unconsciously.
Correct. And that's why if you want to implement something first, put the ritual first and push it until it becomes a habit where it's automatic pilots and you don't need to think about it. But you set up exactly what you want. You train your mind. First ritual, do it. I have to do it. Put a reminder if you have to do it. Do it. Then boom, automatic, autopilots, boom, and you're doing automatically.
This is how you build habits. You build habits when you have a simple ritual or simple action that you are aware. You bring consciousness. And today we talk with salespeople to say activities bring you results. So what activities are you taking? The series of calls, focus, product specification, or which products you're talking about, who are you talking with? So what activities at what focus, and you do enough of them, and everything else happens. And I love this. I'll tell you another, just the back of the story was, so some of the people there used to work with a very famous company. I won't mention the name, but that company had a ritual. That ritual was every Friday, they had a green room for the sales team. Mm-hmm. Every Friday, a salesperson would come in and would record a sales role play. And they would send that to their head office somewhere in Europe. And then the manager sitting over there would have to give them feedback, and they'll send them that role play feedback the following week. And that's how this company is a world-class organization, had this basic ritual that really created champions. And today, with the help of AI, we're able to bring that same rigor Even when people might not have the bandwidth to sit and watch every single individual, with technology, we're able to give you this service, and your team will thank you for it, and you will thank yourself for doing these practices. So if what we're saying sounds interesting, just let us know. We're happy to share some more insights. So it was an explosive meeting with you, Mark. I'm excited about where you've been, where you are now, but more importantly, where you're going. And just as a way of recognizing, I think we started the journey together. It must have been like in maybe October or November last year.
Yes.
And then we went for a 3-month period. So you started in Dubai, you went back to Malta, right? We did this remotely, but now again, coming here to get this, it's a pleasure to officially give you this certificate to say, hey man, well done. Keep this in your office. You put it in front of you to remind you of the sacrifice, of the discipline, of the perseverance, and of the person that you are, to inspire others along the way. So we're inspiring one more together. How's that?
Well, thank you so much, Ramez.
It's a pleasure.
Really appreciate, and I hope everyone who is watching this video today to realize that training and learning, it's life. We need to keep improving ourselves, always be the better version of ourselves. And I will continue learning, so it's about this. And this is just the beginning of putting like concrete things into words. So thank you so much, Ramez, again.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. So until next time, sell more, sell faster, and profitably.